Many golfers believe improvement comes with hitting golf balls, tons of golf balls. In reality, improvement comes from practicing with intention. In this episode of a Perfect Swing podcast, I'll share the essential fundamentals every golfer should know before stepping on the driving range. Learn how to create a productive practice routine and avoid common mistakes, build confidence, and make every bucket of balls count. So, whether you're just beginning your golf journey or looking to sharpen your fundamentals, this episode will help you practice smarter, not harder. Welcome to the Perfect Swing podcast, where we discover that golf is much more than a game. It's a classroom for leadership, resilience, confidence, and a lifelong opportunity of growth. I'm your host, Ashante Epps, LPGA Class A professional and CEO and founder of A Perfect Swing Incorporated. And I'm so excited that you are joining me today. So, whether you're listening on your morning commute, driving to the golf course, or standing on the driving range right now with a bucket of balls beside you, today's episode is going to help you make every practice session more productive. We're talking about one of my favorite topics, driving range fundamentals. You don't become a better golfer simply by hitting more golf balls. You become a better golfer by practicing with purpose. And today, I'm going to share 5 critical things for effective driving range practice. First thing is understanding what the driving range really is. We need to understand what the driving range really is for us. 2, arrive with a practice plan. 3, execute a proper warm up. The fourth thing is to develop a consistent setup. And the fifth and final thing is slow down and practice like you play. Okay. So let's dive into it. All right. So the first thing that you need for effective driving range practice is to really be clear in understanding what the driving range is. Some people think you just go out, hit some balls, get a couple of drinks, having a great time. When you are trying to improve your game, the driving range is your classroom. It's not a place for you to show off. It is where you want to improve. So think about it. Professional athletes, they don't go to practice just to sweat. Musicians, they don't rehearse just to make noise. They practice with a plan. Golf should be no different. The range is where you're going to develop muscle memory, ball striking, confidence, tempo, which is critical, rhythm for your swing, as well as decision making. So every golf swing is teaching you and your body something about you, something that you can use and you can carry on the course with you the next time you play. So when you go to the range, the question that should be at the forefront of your mind for every shot, for every opportunity that you're there is, what are you teaching your body today? Not just banging balls, um, not just, you know, looking to see if you can out hit the next person beside you. Because we know it happens. They hit a good one, you look over, and you may feel yourself struggling a little bit because you're trying to practice something that your instructor have taught you. And sometimes those ideas can creep into our mind like, well, hold on, let me hit a good one to show them what's going on over here, right? Don't fall for it. Because remember, they may have a different motive for being at the driving range. But for you trying to improve your game, the driving range is your classroom, and allow it to be that. Changing and understanding that mindset is going to help you critically. Okay. The second thing for effective driving range practice is to arrive with a practice plan. You need to come with that. There's no pulling your entire bag out and you get to the ride driving range and you're like, what am I going to practice today? You want to understand what you're going for. If you're practicing chipping, bring your wedges. Go to the chipping area, focus on whatever you've decided that is, whether it's alignment, whether it's a distance, whether it's understanding how far each club rolls out, so that that allows you to get a feel for whether or not the pin is in the front of the green or in the back of the green when you're chipping. All of those things come into play when you're talking about practicing and understanding the club that you're using. Are you chipping with a sand wedge? Are you chipping with an 8 iron or a 7 iron? How far is it rolling out? Really honing in on what you want to do. And when you know what you come to practice for, or come to practice and work on, you can just bring those clubs, right? It prevents the trouble from you having to pull out the entire bag. You bring your wedges, if you're working on your drivers or your woods or your hybrids, bring those, bring your glove, some tees, and the right mindset, your notepad, right? But you want to have a plan because you want to understand what you're doing. Because other than that, you're just going to be banging balls. And that's not game like, right? I often see golfers purchase a large bucket of balls and immediately begin swinging as fast as they can, just enjoying themselves, per se. But then the conversation always comes back to, what have you learned and how has that improved you, right? 20 minutes later, they're tired, frustrated, they haven't improved. Instead, when you have a goal and you've hit that bucket of balls, you can pause and reflect and say, so what have I learned today? What have I figured out? What changes do I need to make? All of that gives you a time to really analyze those things. Listen, before you get out your vehicle, identify today, what am I working on? Contact, distance, tempo, distance control, shot shaping, alignment. Listen, you want to be clear and you want to go in focused and complete. One practice session, one objective, and that focus leads to improvement. So you've got to stay focused while you're at the driving range. The third thing for effective driving range practice, you got to start with a warm up. That's stretching, really getting your limbs loose. One of the biggest mistakes golfers make is literally you drop your bag, you drop that bag of balls, and you pull out the driver first and you're swinging for the fences. You have to warm your body up. Just like you warm up to play golf, you have to warm up to start your practice session. And remember, we're practicing like we play. So you have to ensure that you do that. Imagine running a marathon without stretching. Same thing, right? Your golf swing uses your entire body. So you want to start with some general stretching. You can do some shoulder rotations, some hip mobility exercises, some wrist flexibility. All of those things that come into play, right? And then as you begin to hit balls, start small. So do some half wedge shots. It could be your sand wedge, your pitching wedge, your 9 or your 8, and then build it up. You go from half swings to 3/4 swings to full swings, and you just generally increase your speed, your swing length, things of that sort. That is helping you build the rhythm before you're trying to execute too quickly. So that is imperative. And then you go from those wedges, even though you're on the driving range, then move up to your 9, right? Then your 7, hit some 4s or 5, like literally gradually increase in the distance or the length of the club that you're using up to your driver. So don't start with your driver, but gradually getting there, and because your body is really getting into rhythm. So you're beginning to feel your body loosening up. And then you have an opportunity to perform from a practice standpoint at the conditioning of which your body is that you would typically have when you're out playing golf. So remember, we've got to warm up before play, but it's critical to do that for practice as well. The fourth thing for effective driving range practice is to develop a consistent setup. This is by far underrated. We as golfers sometimes really think about what is defined as success and how we're executing while we're playing. You know, Sometimes golfers may say, my swing is broken. Sometimes it's really just your setup. Uh, you can get to the tee box or standing over the ball, and literally you can twist your hands a little more to the left or a little more to the right than you would typically do, and that's going to affect your swing. You could have your shoulders higher, your shoulders lower. Even sometimes the shirt that you have on, if it's tugging too tight under your arm, all of that is going to play a part in kind of how your body feels and the way you set up. But you want to ensure that you do that consistently. So when it comes to setup, remember, everything starts on the driving range. So you want to hone in on those fundamentals there. The grip, how you're holding the club with light pressure, not too tight to create the tension. You're going to mirror that when you're on the golf course. It may be easy to do in low pressure situations, but if that becomes a standard part of your routine, when you're in a high pressure situation, you're going to revert back to, again, that same grip. And that is what sometimes can save you from a shot going into the woods as opposed to a shot going straight down the fairway. It's the grip. So you're practicing all of those things. Again, pressure, finger alignment, all of that great stuff. You want to make sure you take the time to practice that correctly at the driving range. Your posture, making sure you're athletic, you're balanced, yet relaxed, ready to pull the trigger and fire through, right? Also, your alignment. What is a part of your pre-shot routine that really focuses on alignment? Ensuring all of this is your pre-shot routine, but specifically in terms of alignment, what is the shot shape that you're looking for? What are you trying to do with that from an execution standpoint? So again, practicing alignment as a part of your practice routine becomes critical. Are you aiming the club face first? Is that how you normally do? Or do you stand behind the ball and do you find a spot, you know, choose your target, draw a line from your target to the ball, and then find a small, a spot that's, maybe a few inches or a foot in front of your ball, and then you literally try to hit over that spot. Like, what is your alignment process, right? Is it that you're lining your feet, your hips, your shoulder? They all should be parallel to the target. So you want to make sure they're aligned. So oftentimes, especially as right-handed players, and this is just an example, as right-handed players, left-handed players do it as well too. But we line up and we're trying to hit our ball to the target, and we often turn our shoulders either way farther left than we need to, or sometimes we have our shoulders aligned to the flag, right? Which also kind of balances you off. Your target line, which is the line that goes through your ball and then through the flag, that target line, and your body should be parallel, right? So it should be, so your shoulders should be parallel to that line. So really getting yourself lined up, so shoulders, hips, knees, everything in that aligned to that actual target is critical. And if that's something that you struggle with and you struggle with, or if you've never realized that you struggle with, the practice range, the driving range, the practice time is the time for you to work on that. And that is critical. And one of the best investments you can make for that is a set of alignment sticks. You can find them at any place where you buy golf equipment, but also you go to your auto repair store and they're also like driveway reflector sticks. So you can use those, and they're a little less expensive than the alignment sticks in the store, but they're all valuable. You can also use another club in your bag. The idea is just to understand how you're aligning and ensuring that your body is lined up appropriately for where you want the ball to go. Because again, you want to be able to do that when you're out on the course as well too. A perfect swing isn't about perfection. It's about purpose. In a perfect swing, lessons in perseverance, purpose, and preparation from the fairway of life. Discover how the lessons learned on the golf course can transform the way you lead, overcome challenges, and pursue your dreams. Whether you're a golfer, a business professional, an entrepreneur, or someone searching for purpose, this book will inspire you to embrace perseverance, prepare with intention, and lead with confidence. Your next chapter begins with one swing. Order your copy of A Perfect Swing: Lessons in Perseverance, Purpose, and Preparation from the Fairway of Life today. Available on Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, and at www.aperfectswing.net. Again, that's www.aperfectswing.net. A perfect swing, because success begins long before the ball is struck. All right, the fifth thing for effective driving range practice, I can't stress this enough: slow down and practice like you play. Now, slow down is critical. I know it's tempting. You pay for a bucket of balls and you're gonna hit every ball, and all the balls anybody else leaves on the line, you're gonna hit them all, right? But don't be in a rush to do it. Golf is not a race. Before every shot, choose a target. Step behind the ball, visualize the shot, choose your spot, set up your alignment, take a practice swing if that's what you typically do, commit, and then execute. That's exactly how you play golf on the golf course. Same thing you want to do at the range. If your feet never move for 30 shots, you are standing there, you hit a ball, you lean over, rake another ball in, hit a ball, lean over, rake another ball in, hit a ball. Tell me where on the golf course you are allowed to rake the ball to in front of you. I'm hoping the answer is never, because you shouldn't. So you want to play like you want to practice like you play. It- that's it. Because other than that, you're not putting yourself in game situations to be ready. Okay. Now, here's something that I teach every student: don't hit the same club more than, I would say, typically 10 times in a row. And it should be less than that if you're really honing in on game time situation practice. Okay. Golf it just doesn't work that way. You hit the ball off the tee. So you're typically hitting a driver, long iron. You're gonna hit either a wedge in or a hybrid in, an iron, whatever it is. If you miss the green, you're gonna hit a wedge. So you may chip, and then you're gonna putt, right? That's kind of how it works. There's never a time where you're hitting the driver multiple times, at least without a penalty. And we don't really want those, right? Or we can deal with them, but we prefer not to have those. But again, banging balls is not effective practice. You want your shots to be different, especially when you are really trying to hone your skills. Now, I'll back up and say this: that practice is not the same for everyone. If you're a beginner and you are learning the core concept of hitting the ball, getting the ball in the air, you very well may hit the same club 20 times because that's what you're practicing. However, each of those 20 times after you hit, you're backing away from the ball and resetting up. So you're still not just raking balls into the front of you. You're still not raking balls, hit, rake, hit, rake. No, you are going through a full routine of how you execute that particular shot. If you are at a point where you have advanced farther than that and you are trying to lower your score and put yourself in game time situations, you want to imagine that you're playing holes. Hit the driver. You can even take a scorecard out. I have my students take a scorecard and use that scorecard and play a hole. You can use your favorite course, right? Whichever one you want. But use that scorecard and track the distance based on the holes. So if you set up and you're playing from the forward tees and it's a a par four, and it's 300 yards. You set up and you hit your driver. Whatever distance you hit your driver from, you subtract that amount from the total yardage, and then you understand what you have left. Okay. Let's say you hit your driver 150 yards. Now you have 150 yards to go. So now you decide, well, what club am I going to hit next? Let's say you pull a 7-iron. You hit your 7-iron 100 yards. So then you subtract the 100 yards from the 150 you had left after your drive. And now you have 50 yards left. What are you playing then? A wedge? Great. Then you choose your wedge and you try to hit that wedge 50 yards. You are putting yourself in game, on course, playing time situations. That's what you want. That is how you're going to lower your scores. You're going to see if you're coming up short, if they're moving left or right. And again, for each shot, you want to pick a target. So it's critical for you to play like you're in game time situations. And remember, when you put yourself in those situations, it's almost like a repeat process. Tee off, go to the green, putt. Tee off, hit on the green, putt. Tee off, hit on the green. Your brain learns much faster that way. So you're giving yourself a rhythm of understanding how the game is played. And listen, I can't stress this part enough of this fifth uh, item as well too, and that is stop chasing distance. As a beginner, distance is talked about a lot in conversations. And some people that talks about them in those conversation realms, they're still shooting over 100. Distance doesn't matter. Distance is exciting and we like it. Consistency wins though. And I would much rather see a golfer hit a 150-yard shot straight every single time than a 250-yard shot is all over the place. Where you going? You don't know if you're going to be able to play it when you get to it or not. Listen, power is eventually going to come. All of our physiques are different. Our flexibility, all of those things are different. And when you take what your body gives you at that time, focusing on the process in your form and staying true to you, the power is going to come. And when the power comes, you're still going to be able to lean on the fundamentals to when that power hits. It's going longer, but it's still straight. And that's what you want. The game is not about, being able to Easter egg your ball out of the woods. No, it is about keeping the ball in the fairway, getting it to the green. So just know solid contact comes first, and then balance comes, and then the tempo is going to come. And that is where confidence is going to kick in, and you're going to be firing them down the fairway. But just know, do not try to jump on that bandwagon of distance, but really trusting the process of what you're working on, especially at the range, so that you can see it transform on the golf course. Now, I'm going to throw in a little bonus for you. My 5 common driving range mistakes. Cover this real quickly. I see it all the time. 1, swinging too hard. Number 2, practicing only with the driver. Number 3, never practicing the short game. Number 4, comparing yourself to everyone else. And number 5, leaving without learning anything. Those are 5 critical mistakes to a driving range session all day, every day. So you want to always ask yourself, what improved today? What still needs work? Nobody's perfect. But you improve something, you still know what you need to work on. Maybe that's your next session, or it's a way that you can practice it when you're at home. But again, you are in tuned to your game. That is how golfers grow. That is how you're going to be able to grow in this game. And the great thing is you can do it. All right. So, I always like to connect golf back to life. That's just what I do. So when you think about this from a leadership perspective, The driving range is preparation. The golf course is performance. Business works exactly the same way. People often admire successful leaders, but what they don't see is the preparation, the long meetings, the learning, the practice, the failures, the reading the books, the rising early, their early morning routine, that pre-shot routine as it pertains to golf as well. Success is earned long before anyone applauds. And that's just like golf. Your confidence comes from the preparation, not luck. So you have to put in the work. You have to put in the work on the driving range. You must practice. And the great thing is that, you'll see it come through. You'll see it develop. You'll see it work. And that's the same way it works in leadership. Okay. All right, so in closing, today we learned that every bucket of golf balls is an investment in your confidence, in your consistency, and your discipline. Your future rounds of golf, it is an investment in that as well. The next time you head to the driving range, don't simply hit balls. Your job is to go practice and practice with a purpose because purposeful practice creates a confident golfer and a more confident leader. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Perfect Swing Podcast. If this episode encouraged you, please subscribe, leave a review, share it with someone who's just beginning their golf journey. You can always connect with me for coaching, speaking engagements, leadership workshops, and more. Until next time, remember, a perfect swing isn't flawless, not a flawless swing. It's a repeatable one that's built on purpose, preparation, and perseverance. I'll see you on the range and on the fairway.